really glowing today.
It's the makeup.
No, it's the sun. And your beautiful face. So, today,
what are we doing?
Female reproductive system. We've been waiting all semester pretty much for this day.
Yeah, it's virtually the best day of the year.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion.
I think so. So we'll cover functions, we'll cover structures, and we'll cover the ever mysterious menstrual cycle.
It's a pretty good day.
I agree.
Good video, good day. More interesting than male reproductive system. All right, everyone, get your notebooks out, get your pencils out, pens, whatever you use. Make sure you get some colored pencils or markers or crayons.
Good point.
A lot of coloring today. And
let's get started.
Perfect. Today we're going to be talking about the female reproductive system. All right, our first topic of the female reproductive system is the egg cell. The egg cell is our female gamete. There are also male gametes. Remember we talked about those. They are called sperm and they swim. Yeah, so the female gamete is the egg cell. The egg cell has 23 chromosomes, as you remember, the same amount as a sperm cell and half amount of a body cell. The egg cell is also the largest cell in the human body, and each female is born with about 400,000 of them. The next thing we're going to talk about are hormones. Hormones are produced in the ovaries and also in the brain. One of the hormones that's produced in the ovaries are estrogens. They have an important role in sexual and reproductive development. The other is progesterone. This facilitates the implantation of the fertilized egg. Now let's look at hormones produced by the brain. The first is luteinizing hormone, or LH. This hormone facilitates ovulation. The other is follicle stimulating hormone, or FSH. This stimulates follicular production. Now let's discuss the functions of the female reproductive system. The first one is to produce egg cells. The second is to produce the hormones estrogen and progesterone. And the third is to protect and nourish the embryo and fetus. Now let's talk about the structures of the female reproductive system. The first structure we're going to talk about are the ovaries.
The ovaries are the female gonad. On average, they're about the size of a large grape, and every female has 2 of them. There are 2 main functions of the ovaries. First, the ovaries produce egg cells, which is the female gamete. Second, the ovaries produce 2 different hormones, estrogen and progesterone.
The next organ connects the uterus to the ovary.
These organs could be called either the fallopian tubes or the oviducts. These are tubes that connect the ovary to the uterus. And it's also the site of fertilization, meaning that this is where it's possible for an egg and a sperm to meet. Females typically have 2 oviducts, 1 from each ovary. On average, they're about 4 inches long and the thickness of a drinking straw. The next organ in the female reproductive system is the uterus. The uterus is a hollow and very muscular organ that's responsible for housing, protecting, and nourishing a developing fetus during pregnancy. The inner lining of the uterus is called the endometrium. The endometrium becomes thicker during the menstrual cycle to help prepare for the fertilized egg. During menstruation or a woman's period, the endometrium is shed, which is what causes the blood loss. At the base of the uterus, you'll find the cervix. The cervix is the intermediate space between the uterus and the vagina. Normally, the cervix is about 1 centimeter in diameter, but during labor, it enlarges to 10 centimeters to allow the passage of a newborn's head. The last organ we'll talk about is the vagina. The vagina is a muscular tube that extends from the base of the cervix down to the opening of the body. There are 3 main things that happen here. First, the vagina is used for sexual intercourse. Second, the vagina is also where menstrual blood exits during a female's period. Third, the vagina is the birth canal. This means that newborn babies exit from the vagina during childbirth.
All right, everyone, now we're up to the part we've all been waiting for, the menstrual cycle. What is menstruation anyway? Menstruation, also known as a period, is when tissue and blood exit the body if an egg isn't fertilized. pretty much if that egg that is supposed to get fertilized doesn't get fertilized, it has to leave your body somehow. So that happens in the form of a period. This starts between the ages of about 11 to 14 years old. It can happen before, it can happen after, and continues monthly until menopause, which is around 50 years old. Let's talk about the calendar of the menstrual cycle. So if you were to be tracking your period, this is what it would look like. So day 1 is when your period begins and you start shedding blood. Days 1 through 7 are the menstrual phase. This is when your endometrium sheds, the unfertilized egg exits, hormone levels are very low, and oftentimes you may experience headaches, cramping, bloating, etc., those side effects that are often associated with the negative parts of a period. In week 2, days 8 to 14 is the follicular phase. This is when your endometrium begins to build again. Your brain releases FSH, or that follicle stimulating hormone, which stimulates the egg and prepares it for release once again. Estrogen levels are on the rise at this point. Day 14, this is when ovulation begins and things start to get real interesting. What happens is the egg has now been released from the ovary into the oviduct, aka the fallopian tube. Because it's in the oviduct now, if sperm enters the oviduct, that egg can be fertilized and pregnancy can occur. Also at this point, FSH, LH, and estrogen are at their highest level. The next and final phase between days 15 to 28 is the luteal phase. The egg moves towards the uterus at this point and will attach to the endometrium if it was fertilized. The endometrium grows due to high levels of progesterone. You may have PMS in the last few days, aka cramping, bloating, fatigue, breast tenderness, mood, and appetite changes during this time because of the hormone changes. So let's say that you don't get pregnant during this time. What happens now is you go right back to day 1 and start your menstrual cycle all over again. Okay. Let's do it.
Wrap it up, shall we?
All right, guys, we hope you had a great learning day today.
We hope you learned a lot.
We know you missed our faces and our videos.
Girls, we hope you learned a little more about your own bodies. Boys, we hope you gained maybe a little bit more respect and appreciation for the females around you.
Facts.
Maybe you could give your mom a hug if she birthed you. It's really something.
It's no joke.
That process. So
we did not forget about your questions. We're going to do a separate video on them. We're also going to do a video on birth and pregnancy. So stay tuned.
yeah, it's gonna be great.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.